For creating the checkout, we will use that our Stripe payment authentication system. As you see, everything is here is configured. So now we can go through to just move on to create on like for the checkout payment integration. And to do that, let's go to our friend here, stripe.com, and on there you need to just sign into your account. If you doesn't have any account, just simply you can create it. It's very simple. You just need to use your email and a password and it will open. So I'll just log in to my one. Okay, now I'm just logged in and now you can see my dashboard over here. So what I need to do, as you see previously, we have using our Toulouse application, but right now we're going to create a new application which we can use for Toulouse authentication or integration. And to do that, as you see that create new account, you can just go with and create new account and it will just open your account for you. So it's pretty simple. I'll just click on that. Okay, so here I'm going to just make that Toulouse and it will be YouTube, and I'll keep that same and create. And after creating, you need to keep in mind I need to get out one more things from there, which it will be for our Stripe secret key. So that's the key will be responsible. As you see, we have two key here. If you click, it will copy it. So one is the publishable key, one is the secret key. So that's the key you need to copy. So this one is required. And also if you cannot find that one, if you want to go and see in developer menu, as you see from here, you can go with the API keys. And from there, you can see that's the key which I'm going to use. So no worries about that. Don't try to use it because later on I'm going to change my key. As you see, I can roll back the keys for a new one. So don't use that. It will be a very good, you can use your own key. So I have no transaction yet. So right now what I'm gonna do, let's go back to my application and I'm gonna make it shrink a bit, and then I will go in my .env file, and here okay, I think what I did, okay, on here what I need to do is to create one variable which will be a Stripe, and then it will be secret key. Be careful once you're writing the name. So here I'm gonna paste my key. Okay, so the key is right here, and after that secret key we need to also get another key which will be Stripe, and that will be for our webhook key. I think, yeah, Stripe webhook key. So with that key, we will just go and create a real-time authentication. Right now, that key is not available, but we're gonna take it once we are requiring it to that. So first, we're gonna create the checkout instances. Only then we'll go and hand over to create the other parameters. So here is our checkout segment. So right now we have everything here. If you just follow through along, you're gonna have everything. And if you're still watching with me and trying to do your best to make that happen, hit the like button and subscribe the channel if you still not done yet. And don't worry, after we deploy it and make it live, the code, it will be in the description. So no worries, all the codes, it will be provided for you for free. No worries about it, don't take any headache, you're gonna grab it. So right now, as you see, we have one parameter here. We'll just make one separate conditioning, which will be, let's say it will be loading parameter, and say const, it will be loading and set loading. And by default, I'm going to just make that with useState value, which will be a false value, right? And now what we're going to do here, also we're going to start in our checkout process method. I'm going to close this. I'm going to make that set loading, which will be as a true value, right? And after that, I'm going to make a try catch formula, because, you know, anything can be happen. So I'm going to make that like say console.error. If I'm finding any error here, should be error creating checkout session, and there we're gonna just grab it, what kind of error we are facing. We can now view it here, and as you see, we make the set loading true once the function is going to just run at the beginning. So let's show after the catch block, there is another block called finally. On that finally, I'm gonna make that set loading as set loading should be false. So whatever actions it will be provided, it will always come to that final block. Others, it just got the try or catch. So every time I'm gonna hit that handle checkout, it will roll back here there. So first I'm gonna making that loading as true till this action finish, it will be as true. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use create a metadata. So the metadata, and that metadata should be the metadata which we are providing. So right now, did we have the metadata yet? Did we create that, or we need to subsidiary to console for it? I think we have. We doesn't have a metadata, so we will get that later on. But right now, I'm going to just simply go and predefine that metadata. So it will be similarly an object. So first it will take the order number, which will be, I'm going to use that crypto with a JavaScript formula, and then I'm going to make it a random UID. So it will generate a metadata, the order number, it will generate a random order number, and then also it should be customer name, and that customer name should be user dot, I'm going to pass that I think user dot user. Anyway, I think as the user is coming within the object, so instead of writing the user like that, we can just grab it within an object formula. That's it. So now we can directly access the user, right? So if we make user dot full name, and from the full name, if that one is available, okay, otherwise I'm gonna make it is an unknown name. And after that also it should be our customer email, and on that email, user dot email address, and it is an array. You can log that one, and you can see, so from that array I'm gonna just get my first email address if it's available, okay, otherwise also that I'm gonna make it as unknown. Okay, and after that I need one more things, which should be that clerk user ID, RK clerk oh no, CLERK clerk user ID, which will be user dot ID. That's it. So that is my metadata which I'm gonna submit, and here we're gonna go and make something, say const, which will be checkout URL, and is equal to, we'll make it as await, and for that we need to add the root layer. It should be our as an asynchronous function, and here what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make a create checkout function here. So checkout session, and that on that properties I'm gonna pass our all grouped items. Did we check that grouped items? Did we bring that here? It's supposed to be over here, but did we take it? I think we have at the top layer, which called is grouped items, or get card item, I think so. That's the get grouped items. So did we check it? Oh yeah, card products. We just changed the variable here. So we will pass all our card products from there. And after the passing the card products, we're gonna also pass that our metadata. So these two things, it will be deployed there. But right now we're gonna have an error as we are not creating that. If you click here, you see the error is there because the function is not defined. So instead of creating, because right now how we are taking the action is that creating an endpoint, right? But today I'm gonna introduce you one method called the action method. So overall at the top, like in this layer, in the root layer, I'm going to create another folder here where I'm going to keep all my actions. So this will contain all of our actions, and in that action folder I'm going to create a simple function which will be create checkout session.ts, right? So this will be my function to combine to create our checkout instances. And from here, and overall here, I'm going to close it, and then it will be simple as export. It should be also assign function. We're going to create in that way, and we need to find the name. So create, create, it will be checkout session. I think I made a mistake here, create checkout session. And for the parameters, you know, the parameters going to be coming at the two segment here. So one, it will be like that. We can just simply there should be, the item should be coming, and also should be coming that metadatas, right? So first we're gonna just grab it. We will take that as items. So everything items, and also gonna come that metadata. Okay, so that's the function it will be, and we can just simply import that one right here. So that's our action combination should be coming here. And after, when the action is going to run, we need to also check, like if we'll just make that if the checkout URL is available. So that will be an URL which going to let us to go in checkout portion. So you're going to just make that window.location and .href, sorry, it should be href is equal to, it should be that our checkout URL. We will directly passing that value to that URL parameter. So right now we doesn't have any checkout URL, we are getting the error. That's really makes sense. So right now what we're gonna do, as you see, we are just need to resolve this error here. First instances, I'm gonna provide that our interfaces. So first it should be, let's say, export. I'm gonna define the interface from here. It should be a metadata, and I think instead of writing here we have our types, but no, it's a sanity type. So for this one I'll just make the simple type. Did we have any our own types? Did we have that? No, we're using the sanity type value for that. You know, the type gen is generating that one. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make it export interface, and there it should be our metadata. And on the metadata, it should be our order number first, which going to passing as a string, and then it should be also getting our customer name, which also going to passing as a string. And after that, we should be having our customer email also going to passing as a string, and then it should be clerk user ID, which also going to passing as a string. So that's the two things it going to combine. And also now we should be having that interface, and then I'm gonna pass everything as a card items. So let's say card items, and in that card items we're gonna just simply provide that first thing first, in the card item we're gonna get a product value, which is going to be that card items. Yeah, I think we can define, because right now if we can now get the value here, remember we have one class name which we pretty much is just use in the store. That's the card item, right? We can just make that export here. We can use it globally there. I think so. It's pretty simple on that way. So right now, if we go here, the products which we are having here, we know what kind of products we are interfering because we have the value intentionally. So now we can make that as a card items of there, and on that layer, it should be taking, you see, whenever I'm passing that, now I can have the value as a product or quantity. So it should be the product, a array of product, it should be defined here, and then the quantity should be that quantity should be as a number. So that's we have the card items property. And right now we're gonna make another thing, is that to combine all the ratio and provide that. So in the items, you see that properties which going to take as the our as a card items. So let's say card items, and it should be an array of card items. And the metadata ratio, it should be taking the metadata of the metadata properties which we are included here. And also we need to come over here, as you see that metadata. So right now in that metadata, we can also passing that metadata combination here, and that it should be coming from that action create checkout. I think the clerk user ID name is pretty much not aligned, so should be clerk, that one. So clerk user ID CLERK, and here we pass that CLERK user ID. Nope, why this error is persisting? It should not be. If we okay, we just instead of passing that, we will just say that it should be available. So the clerk ID would be insisting there, and if you just make that one also, it will go. But right now we don't want, because we want to send that in the return value. Okay, so everything is on good places if we did well. So right now we need to combine the parameter to get and correctly align that. So how we can go and properly align that? So first of all, I can say, let's say const customers. So customers, and in that customers it should be await, and here we're gonna make, because we need, first we need to install this Stripe also, otherwise it will not work. So here I'm gonna make that npm I Stripe. So that's the one really good things. We need to install Stripe, otherwise it will not work the way we are looking forward, right? Okay, we need to go in the legacy path dependency mode. Okay, and here. And while it's loading, also we will go in our, we will make that Stripe in a, like we will combine it. So let's go in our lib folder here. So in the lib, we're gonna take a new file which should be our stripe.ts, and here we're gonna import that stripe from Stripe. Okay, And after importing it, we need to go and okay, what's wrong here? What is saying? Stripe, okay, type declaration module should be importing. Yeah, it's just taking a bit of time. That's it. So if we doesn't have, like, if we go in the process.env and we doesn't have that our Stripe secrets key, then we want to throw an error. So it should be throw new error, and that error going to say, you'll just pass the message here that Stripe secret key is not set or is not defined. That's it. Now if we have the Stripe key, so we're gonna pass that con Stripe value, and here we're gonna pass that new Stripe, and that Stripe going to say to pass that values.process.env, and we're gonna take that simple value of the Stripe secret key, and that the value, it should be as a string value properties. And after passing that one, we're gonna just refine that. We're gonna pass that API version, and right now we're gonna pass that one which is still that accelerating. So as we did that, we're going to make that export functionality here, export default Stripe. Okay, so now we have the Stripe configuration. Now we can use that Stripe right here. So what we're going to do right now, first we're going to create a customer, right? So it should be Stripe. Stripe need to import from the lib Stripe, and here what you're gonna do is stripe.customers. You're gonna get the customers dot list, and from that list we're gonna expose the Stripe, and then we're gonna make that email which is going to be that metadata.customer email. So with that email we're gonna create that, and the limit should be 1. So it's single user can only have a particular account. So every time you're gonna pass that, it will hit through that to go and create other properties. So what's it saying here? Stripe secret key is not defined. Okay, we can just check in our Stripe parameter if we make anything wrong. If we go in our Stripe, let's say in the Stripe, if the process.env Stripe secret key is not available, then it will pass that Stripe secret key is not allowed. Okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna explore that env. So that's the key we use, Stripe secret key. And if we come back here, okay, anything we miss? We should not. Okay, saying it's not defined. How it's not defined? That's really annoying. So if process.env.stripe secret key is available, is it causing the problem here at the string value? It should not. Okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just go here, and for one more time I'm gonna make clear that everything, and npm run dep, just to see if everything working fine. It can cause some problem, we don't know from where it's coming, but you know, that can happen, this normal. So right now if you roll back here in the card, we should be able to see, I think that error should not persist anymore. So that is really not cool. Okay, Stripe secret key is not defined. So right now if we go back here in our env, I'm gonna just copy this entire things. Okay, and here I'm gonna pass that. So let's just see. Okay, process.env, are we getting that process? So let's say log, and we are passing that Stripe, and it should be Stripe, or we can just simply log through that. That's it. So right now, yeah, we have the key. That's the issue. We're grabbing the key. I think if maybe the new version having some problem, it can be. So I'm gonna change the version right now. So instead of this, we can use this one. API version is not up to date, so it will cause a problem for sure. Okay, there is the problem. I think I find it, as we are using that because it will not reveal in the client property, right? And also, as you see, what we call the function. So the function we called in our as a client side property, because you see that page, you see the structure, that's the client side library. But once we are going to create the checkout, we need to create the checkout in a server side. So Stripe is not going to reveal its key in that client side properties. So what we need to do, as we're calling it by default, is getting the client side properties, but as we are using it as an actions, there is one powerful key called use server. So what we need to do, we need to combine and create that these actions properties. It will be called only in server. It will not use the client side properties. So Stripe can reveal its secret key right now, so we can use it pretty much easy way as it possible. So I think that was the only problem which we are causing. So now we have our Stripe properties. That things can go on, but we're good to go right now. So as you're having our customers, you'll also create a customer ID. So const, it should be customer ID, and that ID should be the customers which we created, and from there we're going to access the data. And if we have the data, if it's bigger than 0, then we're going to pass that customers dot data, and from that array of data we're going to just grab the ID, otherwise it will be undefined for the first time. And now what we need to do, we need to create a session payload by which we're going to create our action properties, and then we're going to go through and passing the other values. So first, to go there, const, it should be, let's say, session payload, and in that session payload it should be, and we're going to define that it should be the Stripe dot checkout, Stripe dot checkout, and then dot, it should be that session create params. So that's the properties we're gonna use. So that's it. So it's just for the type shape. So you're gonna create a session payload function by which we're gonna define that it will be just a simple and object properties, and from there we're gonna pass the metadata, and that metadata going to take something called the order number, and order number going to be, I think it's very simple and easy if we just go and pull that from here, so that the name error, it should be a very minimal. So here we're gonna grab that. So the order number, it should be the number of, let's say, metadata dot order number, and for the customer it should be that metadata dot, let's say it will be that customer name. So with that name we're gonna say the customer name, and the metadata dot customer email, that should be our email, and also for the ID should be metadata dot clerk user ID. So that's how we're gonna just confine it, and it will be in a perfect way to go and integrate the module. And one more things, because we did it a very long time, as you see, we need to check on that property in the sanity and also in the schema types. Here in the schema types, as we have our product types, we also going to create a, like, we have only this sum of that combination value where we are passing that category types, index, and the product types. But here we also need to go and pass another types which should be our order types, right? And to do that, we're going to go in Sanity schema, and here we're going to define one order types schema before going through it. Or we can do it, I think it will be good to go and combine it first, because we're going to save that. Okay, we will just do it later. First we're going to clear our application layer. Okay, so I think in that way it will make a lot of sense. So now what we're going to do, first we're going to finish that, then we're going to align with that. So this the ID, we're going to save it according to our sanity. So first we're going to create the checkout segment, then we're going to save the order. Okay, so the mode should be the payment mode, and after that also we're going to make that allow promotions, and the promotions allow, it should be true. So you can create the promotion here, and that payment method, payment method data, or method data, not data, it should be the types, and types would be aligned for the, I'm going to just render the card right now. And also let's say invoice creation, and here we will be able to create the invoice. So enable should be true. So with that formula we will be easily creating our invoice by so far. And the success URL, okay, so the success URL we're gonna concat within a backtick properties. And right now what we're gonna do here, we're gonna just, I want you to go in that your .env file, .env, and here I want to refrain, as you see, next public base URL. I want to remove that hash, because we will add the hash manually, because sometimes it can cause a problem if I forget we are not using the hash. So we're going to align that one by ourselves. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to make that as that process.env, and the name which we predefine is that for the next underscore public underscore base underscore URL. So that URL, it should be aligned there. And after that, we're going to go our success screen. We're going to create that screen, and on that screen it will go as a session ID. On that session ID, I'm going to pass our checkout segment session ID, right? So it should be checkout underscore session underscore ID. And after that, we're gonna pass also the order number. So the order number should be the number which we want to define. It should be metadata dot order number. So if we have a success properties probability, it will go back there. And if we doesn't success, like for the cancel URL, and on the cancel URL, we're going to go in the same value properties, and that should be that process.env. We can just copy this one, next public base URL key. And if we fail, and then we just gonna roll back to our card, just to go and card again and start again. Now, as we done that, as we have our success URL and also the cancel URL, what we're gonna do here is to go and create the line items. And that line items, we're gonna pass the currency, and okay, should be on the line items. I think we need to combine, as we didn't combine all together. So what I'm gonna do is that, as we are having that items, so items, we're gonna map through the items. I'm gonna put that null check, and everything I'm gonna take as an item, and from there I'm gonna pass a function, and that function you're gonna pass everything as an object. The price data, by the way, you can also make that, extract that if you want, but I will just go within the right sense. So from there, the price data, we're gonna pass the currency, which should be the currency of USD, the US dollars, and then we're gonna pass the unit amount, and that amount going to be, I'm gonna round that one, so math.round, and on that round parameter should be item.product.price, and of course it would be available, and then we're gonna make it with 100. And why we are doing that? Because whenever we are shifting the price, we are rounding that one, so we need to check it, because Stripe is not calculating like 1 2 3 4. It's calculating with the age, like the extract the value. If your currency is the dollar, 100 cents making a dollar, Stripe going to extract the amount as 100 cents, not a dollar. So like if my product purchase is $10, Stripe, I need to pass the value for 10 into 100, like 1000 cents to Stripe. Then when the Stripe going to reshuffle the product and provide it to me back, then it gonna go through it and make that combination happen. So that's how it gonna calculate. And by the way, if we because it's a lot of things going through together, if you are still having a problem, you cannot make up that or cannot finish that, let me know in the comments. We'll find a solution and go over with it. Now after that, we will also passing that product data. In that product data, as we are having our product, first we're going to pass the name, should be item.product.name. If it's available, that name it will be there. I'm going to go with an or properties. If it's not there, it should be unnamed product, and the description, it will align to that item.product.description. And after, you can go with the null check if you want, no worries about that. And the metadata, we're gonna pass the ID. That ID should be, let's say, item.product.id. I think the ID is getting that underscore ID from the Sanity. And the images, as you see, our images as an array of images, right? So what I'm gonna do, the item.product.images, if the images is available, what I'm gonna do is that I'm going to just make that item.product.images.length. If the length is bigger than 0, then you're gonna pass something. Otherwise, I'm gonna make it as undefined, means we are not having any images. If it's bigger than 0, means we are having the length. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna passing that. Remember, we need to make that function URL4, because we need to extract the base image from there, and there we're gonna pass that as the item.product.images. We will pass the first images, and we're gonna return the URL for our images. That's it. So it can grab our images. And after passing this value, also we need to pass that quantity properties by which it can grab the properties and align together. So after the block over here, as you see the price layer, so after this layer we need to pass our quantity properties. So the quantity, it should be item dot quantity. So right now I think we are doing pretty much in good pace. So what I'm gonna do, after shifting all together, after this layer, we're gonna pass a function. If we have the customer ID, we're gonna pass that session payload dot customer that customer, it should be is equal to the customer ID. And if we doesn't have the customer ID, then we're gonna, because first time it should not be having our customer ID, right? So we need to check if we have the customer ID, we're gonna pass the customer ID. And because we have that, whenever the customer is available, it's gonna get the customer ID. If it doesn't have the customer ID, we're gonna go with our for the session payload dot customer email. And that customer email, it should be as equal to metadata dot customer email. That's it. So after having that, we should be combining our session. Const session session is equal to await, and we're going to pass that stripe dot checkout dot sessions, and from here we're going to create the session and we're going to pass that our session payload. So overall this value, so this entire things, we're going to just pass that one as to create our own session within the Stripe. Now Stripe will go and take action and gonna create a session, and after passing the value, if the session is created, we're gonna just return that session.url. That's it. So that's one thing. And for this function, as we are passing that, did we make the try catch block? I don't think so. So we need to go also align with the try catch block. I think that will make a pretty good sense. We can now check if we are having an error and if we are passing any constructing properties. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make that try catch, and on the try I'm gonna paste everything till so far we created. Now on that catch value we can pass the error, so should be console.error, and here we're gonna pass that error creating checkout session, and here we're gonna pass the simple error which we created, and we're gonna just make that throw error. That's it. It's gonna just throw the error. So right now, as you see, because this gonna combine a session URL, so the error is just happen to be providing there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make a reload here just to go and check the segment. And after that, I'm going to go and proceed to check out to see if anything happening. I'll also open that. As you see, we are right now in our Stripe checkout segment, and also our email is configured because we are passing it as a metadata. So everything is good to go. So first, before accessing that checkout segment, we want to create another properties which is called the success page, because you know we're going to get that error after passing successfully. We should not be having a success page yet, so we need to create a success page to combine that together to make that we are landing in a proper zone. Okay, so let's go, and we're gonna go here. First I'm gonna go and reload back. It will just take back to our card as we did it there. So to just go and combine, we're gonna create a success page here. It should be let's say in app. On the client, it should be success, and here it should be page.tsx rafce. We can just make a name here that it should be a success page. That's it. Now on that success page, we need to configure a lot of things, which is really cool, and we need to also fetch a lot of properties here. But right now, what I'm gonna do to create and put everything in places, first I'm gonna make that a client page. So it should be use client, because all the client activity is gonna happen here. But right now I'm gonna go and make it very simple, just that we are dropping everything. That's it. So later on we're gonna go and combine other properties. So first right now, okay, keep it like that, success page. That's it. So go and proceed to checkout. And as you see, we doesn't have any payment yet here. So I'm going to go and provide the dummy card number 4242 for the dummy Stripe payment. You can go in the documentation and you're going to go find a lot of things there. So I'm going to pass my card name and hit pay. So if the payment is considerably successful, then we should be landed to our success page screen, and you know, the 604, you see, we're landing in success page and we're having the order number, and one things which not follow through, as you see, we didn't get the checkout instances. I think we missed something in our action triggered, I think. So let's go back here in the action, create checkout segment here, and ch is sick. Okay, this should be equal. Yeah, that's why it's not holding that data altogether. I think that's a really messy mistake, a small one, but you know, we didn't get our session ID. No worries, we are not going to get there right now. First, okay, no, we'll get there. So first, if we go here, if we reload, we should be able to see the checkout payment instances, and we should be see our first payment, which is coming through by the Stripe. Okay, sometimes it will take a little bit loading instances, so feel free to wait a bit. As you see, payment is success. You click it, you get the details, and you will find all the values. We didn't make our card empty, so we can just create a similar payment right now to just go with the value. So I'm go with the 290 right now. Okay, and here we're gonna go and create one more, 4242. Okay, then pay. Yeah, it's happening. Yeah, we create, and as you see, we have the session ID. You see that we have that session ID which we are passing. We are having the order number, we are having the checkout session ID. That's it. So we have all together like all of the things which we really needed. Yeah, session ID is coming. So I think previously, yeah, right now it's coming here. So now both we can use and trigger it through. So what we need to do in that success page is that first we're gonna combine some of that properties here. Okay, so right now in that success page, we will gonna pass some value. So first thing first, we will capture the orders, but right now we don't have the orders, so we're gonna keep that order right now. So first we're gonna go and check with other properties. First, we're gonna grab it, like we'll get that const search params. So search params is equal to, should be use search params. As is a client side, we can use it from the next navigation. And what we're gonna do also, let's say const order number, and the order number is equal to, gonna pass the search params dot get, and that the value we are passing as the order number. So if we log that, you should be able to see the order number, which the number we are passing directly here. So inspect and console, you see that order number is right here. That's the number which we are passing with the value itself. So right now, as you're having the order number, I think the order number we are passing, order number is okay, it's there, it's not here. It should be in our actions. What you're passing is the order number. Let's see the value in the order number. Okay, we are passing metadata.order number, which is creating as a random order number. Yeah, we got that. So right now what we're gonna do, you can check with the order number, and also you can check with that session ID, right? So we have the order number, and also you can make that a const, let's say session ID is equal to search params dot get, should be session, what's the name is there, session underscore ID. Yeah, so session ID, and also you can go and check the session ID. So both ID should be available, and we can now go and check through it. If it doesn't have the order number or session ID, it should not go. You see, the both ID is available. So now we can go and put the value here. So what I'm gonna do, like we're gonna pass an use effect properties. With that properties, we will go and access the value here. So first thing first, we will not let any user to come in this page if he doesn't have that order number or ID. So also we're gonna make that, let's say if use effect, and we're gonna pass that if no order number and no, let's say session ID. we will redirect user from there. We will note the user to come in here, so that anytime anybody want to come here, it will just go and let that to go in the view in other page. It will not let that to come in. So if it's not there, we're going to just define the value here. We're going to use the router from here, so it should be const router. It should be use router from next navigation. And there is a lot of there is several way we can concat that one, but right now we're going to go with a simple way. So router dot, let's say we're going to make it a push through it, which will force through them to go in the home. Nobody can come here without that property, so we're going to check it later. If we have the order number, then we're going to set a value here. So let's say it will be in the same properties. And if we have that, like the order number and the session ID, we are going to clear our card. So let's go and bring our clear card properties from there. So should be const clear card, and that should be is equal to use card store. Actually, we can just passing that value instead of writing this segment. We can just go like that. You have the clear card? No. Let's say go back in the header how we combine that. Okay, current user, and if we go in our card segment, we are I'm just looking something. You see the items, we can grab the item use card store. That's the value, use card store. So if we go in the card store, did we have that? So let's go in the card store. That should be, oh, we doesn't have the clear card, we have the receipt card. Yeah, that's the mistake we have. Yeah, receipt card. So if we have the value, we're gonna pass that receipt card properties, and both the combination, it should be providing there as the order number and also the session ID, and also we can pass that the receipt card as a combination. Right now, as you see in the card, I have the 7 value, right? If I save that, you're gonna see it should be 0. So nothing is in my card. So my card is empty, everything is good to go. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna combine the properties to go and provide the value how it gonna be look like in a proper way. And to do that, first in that div, let me work something, put a class name which should be padding y should be 10, and I'm gonna provide a bj gradient color, and from it should be from to bottom right, and from gray of 50, and that should be to gray of 100. And by default, I'm gonna go and make it as a flex, and should be item center, justify center, padding should be 4. So everything would be at the middle, as you see. And after that, I'm gonna also use the motion. So I'm gonna import the motion here. Should be import motion from motion react, not from but from. Okay, so as you see, after the success page, everything going to passing that as a motion.div. Within that motion.div parameter, I'm gonna having another motion.div, and on that div, I'm gonna passing a check icon, and that check icon going to provide the value for the other properties. For this one, let's just go and provide some initial state. So the initially it should be, is it coming here, initial? That initial property, the opacity going to be a 0, and y should be, let's say 20, so it will be the bottom side. And when I'm gonna animate on that, I want that the opacity should be 1, so it would be visible, and the y should be 0, so it will be just coming at the right place. And I'm gonna passing the transition timing here, and I'm gonna pass the duration 0.5. So duration, let's say 0.5. And also I'm gonna pass a class name over there. Background color should be white, and then I'm gonna make a rounded of 2 pixel. So rounded should be 2 pixel, and after that, this is shadow of 2 pixel, and also padding x should be 8, padding y should be 12, and I'm gonna pass a max width of pixel. By default, it's gonna be getting full width, and text should be center. So right now we are having this combination pattern. So as you see, so that's the all layer together, it will shift and come through. So first I'm gonna make the checkout should be look in a proper way. So first thing is that div, put a class name which should be 24, and height should be 24, and 24 means which I'm saying a 96 pixel here, and the height is 6 rem. So right now, as you see, the VG should be black and rounded should be full. Item should be center, justify center, MX auto to keep everything in the center. Margin bottom, I'm going to keep it as because it's going to having a below properties, and should be shadow should be LG. Right now, as you see, everything in its strict place, but this is not look so good. So for the checkout icon, put a class name, and that one should be, let's say, text should be white and width should be 12. And I will provide a height of 12. That's it. So I think one thing we are missing, item center. Okay, we didn't make it flex, but we are using the flex value, so it should be flex. That's it, in the middle. And after that, we're gonna pass an order like this. After the motion div, we're gonna pass an h2 tag, should be passing that, or instead of h2 we can just make an h1 that will say order confirmed, FRMED, confirmed. So order is in place. Also, what we're gonna do, put a class name, text should be 3XL, and font should be, let's say, bold, and text should be, let's say, gray of 900, and margin bottom should be 4. Okay, that's it, order confirmed. And after that h2 tag, we're gonna pass a d properties, and here at p tag should be saying thank you for your purchase. Page URC, okay, PH, oh no, not PH, PURCHSE purchase, and we're gonna pass an oppose, by which we're gonna provide the value. So an oppose, and that should be R. So we are processing your order and will ship it soon, and then a confirmation email with your order ID, with your order details, will be sent to your inbox shortly. Yeah, that's the message we want to pass. And then passing a p tag, gonna provide that order number, and on that order number put a span tag parameter. We're gonna just pass that our order number properties. So that's it, we are having the value here. So for that div, put a class name space y. Space y should be, let's say, 4 CE SPA, not CE. Okay, space y4, margin bottom should be 8, and text should be left align. By default it's getting left aligned, so it's gonna be in that way. Okay, so for the p tag, we're gonna provide that class name, text should be gray of 700, and for this p tag here also text should be gray of 700, but for the order ID we're gonna make it a little bit more good. So text should be black and font should be, let's say, semi bold. That's it, we're having the order number, we're having the thank you message. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna just pass some of the text by which it's gonna combine the other properties. So what it's gonna do after that div layer, we're gonna pass that. It's saying that what's next. So the next, it will be check your email for order confirmation, and we will notify you when your order ships and track your order status anytime. So that's the value which you're providing, because we're getting a value of the border properties to make it looks like the same as it is. And after that, over here in the div, we're gonna create a tracker property which is going to like that order taker. So we will track how many orders that user created. So we're gonna bring it later, but right now, as we are not passing the orders in our Sanity, so we cannot pull that one. So we're gonna just pass a to link value here, and one gonna say to go back to the home. So it should be the home icon, not that home. So it should be that home icon from Lucid React, and the href properties going to bring the user in home. So that's the one. And also you're gonna pass a text here going to say as home. So we need to combine that properties to make looks good. First we're gonna make that grid and say grid call should be 1, and SM grid call should be 3, because we're gonna have 3 properties and we're gonna pass a gap of 4. So we're gonna have 3 icon value. And for this link over here, we're gonna pass what I'm gonna do, because it's just a providing some of the link properties and just the value of the icons. So I want you to go with that those class names. I'm gonna import that. No worries, I'm gonna explain to you what we are actually creating so far. as you see, we are creating a 3 value, right? So how we are creating that? First, we are having a home icon with the home. It will go for /home. We have another, the package icon with the title of orders. It will go for /orders, and then we are just going to get a shopping bag icon for /shop. So that's the 3 icon properties, and it will go to combine in the 3 separate pages. And how it gonna work? As you see, making the flex item center justify center to keep the text and item in the center, and after that making a padding X, horizontal padding 4 and vertical padding is 3. The font, it will be semi bold, and background color is the black text white, rounded LG, hover the BG is gray 800, and then passing that transition value. Only that orders is getting that background of white, other the same. This one, the shopping bag and the home is the same, the orders is the different. So right now, if we go to the orders, it will take us to the order page, which we are having the order page. Now if we go fall back to our success, but if we go back to the home, and now this time I'm going to try to come back in the success, it will not let us to entry because we doesn't have that, but it's taking us, yeah, it just providing the glitch there, but we will fix that, no worries. And it's pretty simple to fix it. You know how we can combine is entire things. I'm gonna just pass you the value. If you want to do it yourself, no worries about it. What we can do, instead of making it as a use client, what we can do is to make it as a server side, and everything we can pass it to a component layer, and this way we can just shifting to the value here, so we can use that router directly, and it will not give us the glitch over there. So it's up to you. And by the way, also as you see, predefined a notch, if I think that, yeah, that will be, I think that will be the same. Okay, so if you reload, we should be seeing here 2 properties here because we created 2 checkout. So right now what we need is that in our here, okay, not this one. So I'm gonna go and open my backend here, should be studio. So in the studio, we need to create another parameter, because whenever our orders is happening, we need to go and create a webhook properties, and that webhook gonna check if our order is getting success or not. But before doing that, we need to create an schema type, right? So with that, we should be accessing our orders. So let's go here, and I'm gonna close all, and in that lib here, not lib, in the sanity folder, on that schema types, I'm going to create another schema. So on the file, it should be that order types.ts. Here we're going to create our order types, because right now we have categories and products. So to create the order types, it's also pretty simple. So if we go in our live website, so if we go in the tools, and on the tools itself, we can combine, let's say we're going to go in studio. I think I'm in different account, but I believe it will take, yeah, it will let us going through. So in the order, what we are actually doing is that to go in the value, as you see the order, we are saving the order directly here, and we're getting the order number, invoice ID, we're going to get the number, we're going to getting the hosted invoice URL. So everything we're getting in a proper way. So by itself, we know what is happening. So these things we need to create itself on our properties. With that, we can go extract the value, and also we can pass the things the way we are supposed to look at it. So right now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and create those value, and you can follow, feel free to just go alongside with me to go and combine everything by yourself. Okay, so let's go our here, and we're gonna start creating that. So should be export const order type, and in the order type should be, let's say, define type, and on that define type parameter, on that function, you're gonna pass everything as an object. The name should be passing as an order, and also for the title, it should be the title as order. And after that, we will pass that the type should be a type as a document. So this entire thing is going to passing as a document value, and the icon should be, let's say, basket icon. Basket icon. Okay, and after that, we need to define the fields, fields fields. So fields, it will be an array, so we can right now we can access through the multiple fields property. And as you see, okay, we're gonna go first. So on first, we're gonna get the define. Okay, so the fields, it should be an array of fields. So first fields, so should be define field. On that first field, I think on that value, we're gonna pass our first item. The name should be, let's say, order number, and after that also the title, it should be order number, and after that we're gonna pass the type should be as a string properties, so let's say string, and then the validation, because every single order should be has an order number, so the rule should be, we want that one should be required. That's it. Now for the icon error, I think if we go back to our category type, you see that error is still persisting. What I told you, we're gonna fix it later, because even when having the error, it's working, so no worries about it. So in the index, we can now simply grab our orders. So here we're gonna pass that order type. So first, before going there, I want you to go in the backend. I'm gonna save it. So right now we should be seeing one order type properties right here. So let's see, give it just a bit of time. It's gonna reload and it's gonna fetch those properties here to just make it visible. You see, we have order, and in the order, if you want to create, because it's providing our previous order, as I just changed that one, so it's having those orders. Even the field is not defined, so no worries, that we will fix that, because I need to just define the field, because I'm using the data set, my previous data set. So we first need to combine through and provide all the type, and it will be extracting proper way. Okay, so after finding that, so what I'm gonna do to create the other properties, so right now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drop it down and explain to you. You just post the video. If you need to have a little bit pace, then go and do everything what I'm saying to you. Trust me, if you did it properly, it will work with you perfectly. So after the order value, like we have one field which is order, then we're gonna having another field which is called invoice. So that invoice is going to take the name as invoices, and that invoice is going to have a type of object. So in the fields, we're going to define the ID and type. The name should be the number and a string, and hosted invoice URL. And we're going to grab that URL value, by which we can combine the URL to go and deal with, like, after having the successful payment, we will be able to go and grab our like invoice. So every time you order something, you will be able to shifting your invoice to just extract that properties. And after passing that invoice URL, we're gonna have some more properties, and once you are typing those names, I'm gonna make it a bit bigger, so you need to be careful that you are naming that as the way I did, otherwise you're gonna having some problem also. Then the next one is going to having our Stripe checkout session, and the title should be providing the Stripe checkout session ID, and type is a string. After that, we're having the Stripe customer ID. Remember, the name we are providing in the actions, we did the same thing. Trust me, that's the things which are pouring through, because we need to combine with the same utilities. The title is the Stripe customer ID, type is a string, and every order should be happen to be taking that customer ID. And that invoice, we are not making it that it should be making as required, but you know, whatever the required is properties there, that should be basically, it should be needed, otherwise it will not take the action. And then we have our Clark user ID, which is going to passing that the store user ID, type as a string, and also is required. And after that, we are passing the customer name, the title as a customer name, that title to just to view it the Sanity. So that's the name, we will gonna just take it to grab the value. Type is a string and is required. Email, customer email, string value also required. And then the defined field is Stripe payment intent ID, that's which is going to be providing that Stripe ID value, and also that is required. And after that, we're going to have one of the most important field here in our product parameter, which is going to forecasting our product value. So if we just go here in our tools, and I just came out from there, if we go back to our studio, we should be able to see that property value here. So if we go back in the orders and we just check the data here, as you see in that order, we are passing like these orders, how many products is included. We can just click and see the product value. As you see, it's pretty simple, and also we can go back to our products layer. It's how it's connected all together. So we can now physically know how many orders we are passing and how many quantities we are purchasing. Now also you can increase from here if we wanted to. So it just predefined the way we are looking forward to. Okay, so right now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go and go with the same configuration here. So that's how we are gonna do it. So first, the define field going to be naming as a products. With that key we can grab the products, title is the products, and type is an array. So in the off we are passing the define array member, which is going to be having an object. On that object we are passing all the products property, the define field, the name, product, product bought, reference. The reference is the most important here. We are referencing the product which we are creating here is that product. So this is gonna referencing here in this product itself. So that's how we can connect one product with another. And then so this entire field going to be concat from there, and we are passing the quantity value, how many quantity purchase. Remember, see the number value over there. Then we are creating one preview section by which we are passing the product name, quantity, image, price, and currency. Then we are preparing that value for here to just passing that value as the selected product into select quantity, subtitle passing the price and quantity, media select dot image. Again, if you just go here in that value here, you can see what we are doing here. As you see, that's the segment we're creating. We are having one like the same value passing the product and quantity. So the product and the quantity, as you see the one with this, the entry is coming from right here. So the product name and quantity, then we are passing the price value. And the media is just the image. I think the image is we are I think because we have the product, that's we are missing something. If we go back here in our product types, in the image, what's the field we are passing through? We are passing the images. Yes, that's why it's not actually combining there. So that should be products.images as an array value. We're gonna pass the 0. Just we're gonna see in this one if it's working perfectly or not. So that should be the concat value. If you go in the local host, okay, define array member, passing a runtime error, it should not be happen to be, let's say, okay, we're gonna fix that. So okay, I'm gonna go out of the structure value for a while because it can cause a problem till we are building that. Right now, okay, I'm gonna keep that one like that for just to go. So it should be images. So okay, I'm gonna go with the images properties. Okay, let's see. After passing the images, if it's okay, reference define array member is not defined. Okay, we need to import that. Yes, that's the problem. So if we go here, so the define array member need to import from Sanity. So that was the error which we are a subsidiary getting. Okay, define array member imported yet. Okay, so I think this time it will not provide the error, and will be able to see the image, because here we can see the image. It just undefined value is coming. So here we can see if we can fix that or not. So if we go in the order and we track our previous order, as you see in our another account, it's just in unpublished properties, so it's just revealing here. Okay, the same thing. So it should be, let's see, images as an array of images. We can pass the 0 value. So are we gonna get that? Okay, we can check. If we cannot get that, we'll fix that, because it will be a simple things to go through on. Okay, still loading. Okay, that is we are editing. I think we can go in the other one. Let's see if that one is making any sense. No. No worries, we can fix that. We'll fix that in a sense. So the image is actually, we are not getting the image properties. So product dot images. So in the product type, we are passing the define field. We are passing the name as in images. Okay, no worries. We can come up later on. So right now, as you're having our define field, so also we need to grab some other properties. And why I'm just copy pasting it, because if I go through with that simple properties, it will be an 1 hour videos again. So I'm just gonna make it simple. Define, just telling you, you can go through it and make it in a very simple way. So here I'm gonna passing the total price value. Title is total price is a number, and every single action should be having a total price, and the rule should be at minimum value should be 0. Then going to passing the currency properties. and the currency should be string, and also currency is required. Then the amount discount should be that discount amount gonna be, and also every single item is going to happen to have that discount properties. Then we are going to have two more properties here, which going to be a very simple one. One is that the one is, okay, I think I copied the similar. Okay, let me grab again. Yeah, one, it will be for the options value. If you go here, as you see, we can now go and check from the admin. We can know if it's paid or it's delayed. We can just go and make that one is happen. So it's up to you how we want to change it. So that's the properties. It will be status, and order is status, and the string type, and the list we're gonna pending. We're gonna have the value and the title, so it's having that pending, paid, shipped, delivered, and cancelled. Then we have the order date, and in the order date we have the date time, and every single order should be having a date time. So we now need to create the preview section here. So as you see, it's coming with the basket properties, so we need to combine. So here, if it's coming here in the basket properties, and the name and the order concat and with the email properties, but here as you see, okay, document type order, what's happened? Okay, schema type, I think, okay, let's go in the structure. Because I'm editing and using it, it can having, okay, order date in an object. Okay, so order date in an object. What's wrong here? We're passing the order date. I think maybe I copy paste twice. Yes, as you see, previously I got that order date also. Yeah, that was the problem. So I got it twice, because when I copied, that top value was not copied, but the lesser value was copied. So that's the problem. Okay, so after that, if we go in the order, we doesn't have any preview right now. As you see, the preview is not the way it's supposed to be. So we need to create a preview properties here, and how we can do. We can just make a creative preview like that, and first we're gonna go to create a select value, and the select on the name, we can just get the name value which one we want at to be selected here. So the first things we want to be selected to passing that customer name, total price, currency, and order ID should be order number, and then we're gonna passing the email. And after defining that, we can now prepare our select values. So prepare, and here we're gonna pass that select properties. And on that select properties, we're gonna define that, let's say const, and it should be order ID snippet. It should be, we're gonna go with the backtick. And anyway, as we are just everything making copy paste, because I don't want to kill your time for this so much, so I'll go on that. And still, if you're having problem to understand it, let me know in the comments. I'm gonna go and make it in a bold way so that it can be really easy for you to grab it. Okay, what is saying the error? Select email name currency. Okay, what's wrong here? I'm gonna just make the reload my window. Sometimes it will take a bit of time to go and shuffling everything. Okay, so if we go here, and I think we are good. So also here we are good. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just publish that one. I don't want that to be making a problem here. So as you see, if we go here, every single order having a proper value by which we can now go and combine and find that property layer here. I think it's still loading, and as you see, that's working perfectly fine. So right now we need to define that. We can find the image property. Let me see. I think for the images, we can do one more things in the order type. In the images, as we are going to get the zero index properties, so that's the field here. And here in the images, we can just passing that zero. So I think it should be providing the zero properties from the image. Instead of writing the array itself, we can just go and grab that as a 0 1 2 3 number properties. So still I'm not sure it's going to work or not, but let's see. Okay, okay, it's not yet happening. Nope, it's not providing. Why? Anyway, we can go and see later if it's just happening or not, but right now is one of the important things required. Like once we go and view our cart, like once the checkout is happening, we need to go and access, like we need to go and create a webhook to access our properties here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna close everything from here, so close all, and right now I'm gonna go in my app, and also in the app, in the client, I'm gonna create another folder called API, and that API I'm gonna create one more folder again, which going to be, let's say, webhook, or webhook. And on that webhook I'm going to create a route which will be route.ts. So this route will be responsible to grab everything in a proper way. But before going over there in the route, we need to also go and in our to create like for our Stripe webhook. And to do that, I'm going to go to open my terminal in globally. As you see, you need to go and install Stripe like for in your local machine. And like if I go here, if I say Stripe, let's say version, I already installed the Stripe version. As you see, it's 1.22 is running, and you can say directly searching for that how to install Stripe in. Now I'm running Windows, so I'll just go in the Windows. If you're running in, you see the CLI, click on that, and it's pretty simple to go. You can just try on that. You can install in the properties like that. You can go with the homebrew if you're using that Mac OS, and for the Windows you can just simply go with the download. You can go in the GitHub properties, and for also any Mac OS or Linux user, you can go over here and you can find your suitable proportion. And for the Windows 64 bits, I prefer to have that one. So I think 23 is running. Me is running for is 22. Okay, so that's the way you can just install Stripe like locally in your computer. Now as I'm having the locally installed, so what I'm gonna do, I want the Stripe should be listen. First, before going there, I will make Stripe login here. So that's how it gonna log in. Hit enter, and it gonna go with my browser and then logged in. It's very good to do it, and as it's just, if you're not logged in, you have installed, but maybe it will not go and forecast the value as the way you are looking forward, and you're gonna have a nice little error which it will not be coming with any authenticator scenario. So 692327. Okay, now as you see, I'm going to allow the access. If you don't do that part, you will not get the access. So I'm having the access right now. So as I'm having the access, what I can do, I can now run a simple command, Stripe. I now want that Stripe to listen, and we're going to forward that listen, forward, and that should be /2, not -2. And now what I want to listen, remember, localhost and then 3000, and then it will go through our API, then webhook. So you need to pass the actual destination. So now I hit enter, and after, as you see, forward to localhost 3000 API webhook. So as you see, that's the key. The secret is, and from WHSEC, I need to copy that. Now after copying this portion, let's go to my env file, .env, and what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna just paste my key. As you see, I have my webhook, so here I'm gonna paste it. Done. So now I'm having my webhook key. So what I'm gonna do is time for us to create that route and save our Stripe product, like the checkout product, to our Sanity. So how we can do that? It's very simple. First, we're gonna make that export. It will be running as an assign function. So function that should be method as a post method, and in the parameter we're gonna get the request properties, so rec, and that request should be, let's say, next request. Okay, so right now here, first we're gonna extract the body, by which we're gonna get that body, and it will be passing from await rec dot, we're gonna transfer into everything as a text properties. And by the way, now here you need to be careful. I'm gonna go each and everything by depth. Why I'm losing you that one to create that the other types, because remember, it's a long portion of video. Sometimes you're gonna losing track, you want to take your own time. So that's why I'm gonna just make it fast forward, that you can just type and go. But here, once I'm going to create that webhook, you need to understand what you're building. You need to go and see the value, how you're initiating it, how you are combining it, and just creating the value as you want. So that I'll go through like step by step every single things I'm gonna type and make you understand on that. Okay, so we're gonna pass the body, and after that, let's say const, it should be headers list, and that list should be await. I'm gonna just grab my headers from the next headers, and now I need to create the signature. The const signature, it should be header list dot get, and it will be coming through like say Stripe, and we're gonna provide that Stripe signature. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna check to the signature parameter which is coming from the Stripe, because I need to authenticate that. Right now, if I doesn't have any signature, what I want to do, if we doesn't have any signature, we want to return a value. So return should be next response, and also need to import from the next server, and next response.json. And here on the JSON, we're gonna pass the error, and the error should be, let's say, no signature. Okay, and also you're gonna pass that one status code, and the status should be, let's say, 400. So if it doesn't have the signature, we're gonna just let that user to get that error as 400. It doesn't have the signature, so you are good to go to outside. And after that, we also need to check the webhook secret. So webhook secret, and in the webhook secret, we're gonna go with the process.env dot, let's say, not, it should be Stripe underscore webhook underscore secret. So that should be our webhook secret. And now if we doesn't have the webhook secret, what we want to user, first we're gonna lock that one to see if it's working or not. So let's say Stripe webhook secret is not set. And after that, we're gonna return a value, because if you don't return, if it doesn't have the webhook secret, it's gonna collapse, because later on it will not work and our own API, it will break. So every time we are taking any of the value, like if it doesn't have, we need to provide a response that, so that this like our API, it will be just a type saved, so it will not break. So response, and in that particular response, you're gonna make it also in JSON, and we're gonna pass the error, and that error should be, let's say, Stripe webhook secret secret is not set. The same message you're gonna pass, and for the user, you're gonna pass also a status message, and that status should be, I think we need to combine within a curly braces. Status should be 400. So now we are checking two value. One value is the signature, so we need to have the signature value, then also we are gonna have that webhook secret value. Now if we have the both value, now we can go and create an event. Okay, so should be, let's say we're gonna get a variable, let event should be it should be Stripe dot event. Okay, you need to Stripe dot is a capital E event. Okay, you need to get that event at the top. As you see at the top, you need to import the Stripe properties, otherwise it will gonna flag that. I think one properties which you miss should not be equaled. I'm gonna just delete again. It should be like that, because the event should be, this is the type which we are defining that. So this event should be a Stripe event type. Now we're gonna pass the try catch block, and in the catch properties, what I'm gonna do, I think did you need to okay, yeah, we need to have a try catch properties. So first properties, in the try, we're gonna pass the event, and that event is equal to, let's say, Stripe. Remember, we have lib, we are making this Stripe. This is Stripe because both have two separate value. One is Stripe for the package, another in the lib, which we are forecasting to have our value, like our own model of a Stripe, which we created as a hook. Now that will go there, Stripe, and it will go to prefer that webhooks dot construct event. So in that constructor, it will take the body, it will take the signature, and also it will take the webhook secret. With that retrieve value, it will create an event. Now if it doesn't create an event, what we want, if the event is created, we should have an event, right? If it doesn't have the event, remember, we're gonna also make that like say console.error. We can pass the error where we can say the simply that webhook signature webhook signature verification failed, and we can now view our error. Okay, so that's the one error. So in that we can just console that, but we need to return something for the front end, and that should be providing that returned, and that should be next response.json properties. And we're going to go with the same shifting parameter. We need to pass the error, and that error should be, let's say it should be, we can now passing that error properties in the front end just to see if that one is related. So webhook error, and here we're gonna pass the error properties, so it will go in the backtick and it will go the error. And after that properties, we also need to passing that the status. So status, I'm gonna even the 400, it's breaking, so it's okay. So now we are having an event if we are not going through a catch value. So right now what we're gonna do, as we're having the event, we need to deconstruct what kind of event we are having. If the event dot type is equal to, right, that should be checkout session completed, right? So there will be a lot of event. If you go back to our Stripe documentation, you can find a lot of event is occurring, but what we need to do, we need to specifically take that checkout session completed event. Like once that event is running, we will go and do the things here. Now if we have that the event type is completed, then we're gonna pass that, we're gonna create a session is equal to event.data.object, and that should be at Stripe checkout.session. So that's equal to that session. And also we're gonna go and create the invoice is equal to session.invoice. And if we have the invoice, right, then it will be like that if we have, and if it doesn't have, we're gonna pass the invoice as null. And if we have the session.invoice, then we will make that await let's say Stripe.invoices. So not that, Stripe.invoices, and from that property we're gonna retrieve our invoice. So here the invoice is going to come in the session.invoice as we're gonna pass the value as a string. So what I'm doing, if we have the event checkout session completed, we're getting our session, and also we're getting our invoice. For invoice, it depends if the session invoice is available, only then we are retrieving the invoice as the session invoice, otherwise we are leaving it as null. So now you can make console log to get the session invoice and the session, it up to you, but I know it will be working like that. I'm gonna now create a try catch value, everything. What I'm doing right now, again, I'm saying the video is length is very long, so we cannot stick to just log and go with like that, because I tested it several times and I know it will work like that way. What you can do, you can go and console log to go and see the preferable value wherever you are feeling that I need to go and understand this. Okay, don't follow me blindly, do yourselves some little bit of homework, so that in this way you can understand it better. And also if you find a good solution the way I show it to you, you see, there's a better option for it, let me know in the comments. So many people can try it, and also even I can try it. I want to learn also. Okay, so first we're gonna handle the error. So let's say console.error. On that error we're gonna pass that error creating order in Sanity, because now we're gonna pass the order to our Sanity database. And also we're gonna pass that return should be next response.json, and from there we're gonna pass that error should be error as that, let's say it should be error creating order, and we're gonna pass error to frontend, even it's visible to there. And after that we also need to pass one status code there. So status, I'm just going to passing the 400 because all are failed in the server side. Now here what I need to do in the try value, we are having that our session. So right now we will create a function which call that create order in Sanity. right? So that order going to having a two value, which going to take the session and also going to take the invoice. Okay, so with that value we will create that function here. So on that function we're going to define how it can work, and before retrieving that, you see this one, we need to return a value. So return, and that should be next response. So everything is getting successfully done. We're gonna pass the JSON value, and here we're gonna pass a value should be CIVED. We're gonna pass a value which will be received should be true. That's the overall value we're gonna pass for to front end. So now as we're having that, we need to create that function. So copy that here at the bottom, we're gonna go and create that function. So it should be async function. Okay, async function. Okay, and then it should be the create sanity function, and here in the parameter we're gonna have two values. So you're gonna have the session, and that session it should be that stripe dot checkout dot session. That's the value of that, like the type value. And invoice property also it should be stripe dot invoice if it's available. Okay, otherwise it will just go with the null value. So now here we're gonna create our properties. Okay, so how are we gonna create? And from the session we're gonna get a lot of properties. So I'm gonna take everything as an object, and it's gonna coming from our session. And what we're gonna have from the session, we're gonna have our ID. You see now all the details, as it's that's the beauty of having the type strip. You're gonna have everything predefined, and you can now extract without any error. Now beside ID we also need a couple of values. So the ID, and then we're gonna have our amount total. You see everything is coming, and we're gonna have our currency, also the metadata, then we need to have our payment intent, then we're gonna have our total details. Okay, that's all going to be coming from the session. Now also you need to get something from our metadata. So let's say metadata, as it can be unknown, and also it can be metadata, and that should be coming from actions, right? In the actions we defined already the types of the metadata, so feel free to use it anywhere in the application you require. So now what we need from the metadata, we have several values. We have our order number, we have our customer name, and also we have our customer email, we have our clerk user ID. So that's the value should be coming from the metadata. And after that we also need to make that like we can now create a product variable here. Let's say we will just create, like here it will passing that creating sanity product reference. Okay, REFERENCES reference. Okay, so here we're gonna create the sanity product reference. Remember the value should be the value which we are passing there. So it should be const sanity products. So sanity products is equal to, and here we're gonna pass that. First we're gonna take the line items before passing the value. So how we can retrieve the products? So const line items, and let's say with product is equal to, it should be await. We need to retrieve that one. Okay, so the checkout no charges checkout dot sessions, and from there we're gonna get that list line items, and from that properties we're gonna grab the items as the ID, and here we're gonna expand it through. Remember we're gonna pass the value, it should be as a data dot price dot product. So all the products is gonna combine with that properties. So if we just save it, yeah, I think it's working. So now we can extract the sanity product. So it should be line items with product dot data dot map, and everything I'm gonna grab as an item, and from that properties in the function you're gonna return this object, and underscore key, that key should be let's say crypto dot random UID. So that should be our key value, and after passing the key value also we're gonna pass the product, and that product should be passing that underscore type. We need to pass that as a reference, and after passing that value underscore ref should be our item dot product, not that item dot price should be let's say item dot price, and if the price having the product, and S, the product should be that stripe.product and the product. And now here that should be similarly matching with our metadata.id. I know this getting a little bit of complicated here, but that's the way it's supposed to be. We are now, because we have the product in this Stripe. Now what we need to do, we need to make the product as the product the way Sanity can grab, right? So we are now grabbing that product for ourselves. That's the way we can create it, okay? So also we need one more properties here. As you see, if we go, we need to create one backend clients here by which we can go and grab that products. If we go back here in our layer of that Sanity and in the live, okay, as you see, we have client, image, and live. Here we're gonna create another file which will be, let's say, backend client.ts. Okay, here what I'm gonna do, in the client we have all the value, right? I'm gonna just copy this entire things here and I'm gonna paste it. So, and now I'm gonna make something here. We have API version, project dataset, project ID from env, and here we need to have that Sanity API token, right? And why you need that? Because now we need to preferably write everything in our Sanity, and I think we have that. If we go in the env, I believe I have that because I already showed that to you. Yeah, Sanity API token, we have that. So we need to go and pass that value here. So after passing that ucdn, we need to pass that token, and that token should be process.env.sanity API token. So with that, we can now use that one. So should be backend token, backend client, because right now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna giving him an access permission. Whoever have that API token, what they can do, they can now save, because now this application bearing that API token, so it can access my Sanity Studio. Because API, it can do everything. It has the developer account, so it can now save the product to my Sanity order data. So if you don't give that, it will not work, okay? So what we're gonna do is, after passing the reference, we need one more properties. We also need that quantity, and that quantity should be item.quantity. If quantity available, okay, otherwise it would be 0. Done. So after this value, we need to create the order. Const order is equal to await, and now we're gonna pass that backend client dot create. Now this is a very important. You see, once I try that backend client dot, I have the method. Now I can create with a function, everything going to pass as a value. So underscore type should be the type of order. Remember, in the type, once we're writing that, we are passing the document type. That's the value how it's gonna combine. So passing that order number, and if we have the order number value, we can use that. Did we take that order number right now? Yeah, we have order number, so the same order number as the key is the same. And then we're gonna pass that I think as it can be causing some problem. What we can do here, we can just simply go to get our side by side of our that's schemas, the order types. So I'm going to keep it as side by side so that it will be less error prone, because I don't want the error should be happening. So you have another parameter which is Stripe checkout session ID. So that's the one. So that's the key which we need to use. So I'm going to make it a bigger screen here. So Stripe checkout session ID, and here we're going to pass the ID, right? Then we're going to have the Stripe payment indent. So where we're going to keep that Stripe payment indent. Yeah, Stripe payment indent ID, because if we mismatch with those keys, it will go by. So the payment intent should be there. And after that, we're gonna having that customer name as the key, and the value is the same, so the customer name will be fine. And then we're gonna have the Stripe customer ID. So if we just search for that Stripe customer ID, that's the one, and on that value we're gonna passing that our customer email. Okay, and after that we have our email. So email also should be our customer email, it will take. And then we're going to pass the currency as the currency. and then it should be the amount discount. Okay, that's the value we have somewhere here. You can see here, you can find amount discount value also available after product total price currency. See, that's the key. In that value, we're gonna pass the total details. So in the total details dot amount discount, if we have that, otherwise it's gonna have 0. If we have that, then total details dot amount discount. Remember, previously we are passing into 100, right? We are applying multiply, like the $1 into 100, like 100 cents. Right now we need to divide the value with 100. So right now we're getting the raw value, like the dollar value. Okay, so this way we can return that. Okay, so right now also for the products here, as you see, the key which we are providing here, not the product but the products. That's the key. So that's the key need to be as a reference here. In the product key, it should be our Sanity products, the products which we created at the top. You see, we are just getting the products from the reference, and we are passing the products as the Stripe products. So that's the value we are passing there. And after that, we're gonna have several properties which will be total price. I'm gonna just go through it. I think right now we know what is all, so I will just minimize it, because what I copy paste, because those keys can be having some mismatch and everything cannot go out of the error. So total price should be amount detail, amount total. If amount total available, okay, it should be divided by 100, otherwise 0. See, everything I need to get the its actual value. And for the status, I'm gonna right now make it as paid, because as the Stripe payment going to be done. And the order date, not data, date should be new date, and that date should be dot to like say ISO string. So I'm gonna make it a string on that. And after that, we're gonna also pass that invoice. Invoice. On that invoice, we're gonna pass that our invoice value. If invoice is available 1, otherwise it should be null. If invoice is available, what we're gonna do, we're gonna pass an object here. The ID should be invoice. Remember, we are having as multiple value instances. We are passing an ID, and we are passing the number, should be that invoice dot number, and also we are passing that hosted. If we go back here, it should be the name of that hosted invoice URL. I think it's the same name of that URL we are providing. So invoice dot hosted URL invoice. And if everything done, we're gonna just return order from here as we are constructing the order. Now, if we just concat that, we should be able to get our value here. So that products value, the function which we create here, that creates Sanity, like the order in Sanity, it's just going to return the order value here. So whenever we're gonna call that, it's gonna provide that order to just prefetch and get the defined field. So now is the moment of truth. So we can now go and open that. So you see it's working. I'm gonna remove that. It can be, it's a long time we are running, it's not working. So again, getting ready, and I think it will be the similar, yeah, similar one. Let's hit that, proceed to checkout. Okay, till now it will not work. We first need to provide the card value 4242 and define. Okay, hit pay. And after hitting pay, what it gonna do, it gonna, as you see, payment intent succeed, charge succeeded, okay, created, everything fine, and API 3000, okay, good to go. But there is a 400, so I think we are passing some error, but our payment is done. So the error is persisting that we are having something basically wrong properties maybe. So get success. Stripe, okay, Stripe webhook secret is not set. That's the value. Why? Did we have the secret? I think that is the secret which we have. We just need to check if the similar secret we are using or not. So let's just go and make that .env, and that is the value. So starting with okay, 9677. Let me check the last value. So the last value is okay. I think the problem arises because we provide the different name here. So as you see, we are, if we go here, we are using the Stripe secret key here, but if you go in that .env file, we are using at is a key, so that's the name problem. And also one more thing, you just need to create on that of that Sanity login, just to log in the property value here. If you just go here, Sanity login, it will just let you log into your own account, because sometimes, you know, if you are using another account, it can cause the problem. So right now I'm gonna just shuffle through my account to just go and single-handedly logged in. Okay, I'm logged in now. I can view the everything here. So what I'm gonna do, let's go and create. I'm gonna go at the beginning. Okay, leave the site, and here we can now go and prefetch again. As you see, I'm trying to prepare for 108. Previously I also in defined, because my video was off for a bit, but I was trying to resolve and I post a video and I forget to play it. So now I created several several orders to go back to just showcase to what kind of problem we are facing. I believe that could be the reason to having those things. So if we do it well, we should be. And also one more things, previously, as you see, we missed to have that our Clerk user ID. So after that customer email, be sure that you are passing that Clerk user ID. So this one is open. So now we're gonna go and proceed to checkout to create our own checkout right now. So let's go here, photo and providing the value. So 12, 35, 123, and providing the name, pay, and let's see how it's going to work. Okay. Looks good. Okay, again, one more problem is here, is getting the 400 at the last instances, means it cannot successfully align that. If we go back here, I think we have the similar error. So here the response is status 41 and response body and status code 41. Session does not match project host. Error code, error unauthorized. That's okay. I think we can do one more thing also. We can make a Stripe login. Which account we are using? Let's see. Stripe login. We will go with the similar Symfony, so we will know that we are using the same Stripe. That should not be having any issue here, but it can cause sometimes, so it's better to be reshuffling. So 955207. Okay, we're allowing Stripe also for our this one. Okay, so right now, because it's the same thing, we did it here, so it should work. Let's open again. Okay, now if we go and check, did we miss anything in the session properties? So that's where we take the session. So that is the session where it's coming through, and in the session we did, I think, event data object Stripe checkout. The session should be fine. Try that to be making this API token can be having an issue. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to run with my tools again. So to create a new token, so let's go in API. I think this token doesn't have this allowed of that, so let's go at one API token should be for editor. Okay, and let's say the name should be admin, and we're gonna pass that save. So we will be having to get the token. I'm gonna copy that, and then I'm gonna just replace that. So I just replace my Sanity API token, as maybe it can having the problem, or I don't know, but it's better to have that. So now I have that one token here, which for the admin. Okay, let's go, and I think we are having the token. And one more thing, it can be problem, you see. Okay, yeah, that's the problem, because the license for 1 month is finished. So you see the 4 months before, so right now it's just giving me free access for 1 month, so means we are just, you know, just gone. So I need to create a separate account to go through it. So I think we can go it. Yeah. so that you can just use your account for like 1 month. So as a free plan is active, but it will not work. But again, as we just changed that, let's just try again. If it's getting generous and it's working, then let's see. So I think that could be causing the problem, because it's only working for a month, but it's not working more than a month. So even though let's try this one, let's see what's the result it can be coming, because that's the authorization coming up from the Sanity, because others everything is fine. So let's hit pay. As you see, everything working perfectly, only the error is percepting from Sanity. Okay. Oh, hold a minute. Yeah, we did it. Yes, it worked. Okay, it was this problem with the API token, because I think my previous one was just expired. Okay, the token is just, you need to, the token is expiring for a month. Okay, that's the problem. That's what I missed, because my token was expired. I got a message previously, but I was not intentionally view on that. So even you were trying the live link in the Sanity, I think in the tools, it will not work. You can place the product, but the order flow, it will not work. Even it will not work because I got the webhook. So that's the one which was passing the email, but I forget to identify that, and that's why. So right now, if you go here, okay, this is small amount, I will go and create a big amount here. So let's go here. Okay, and then okay, let's go here, and now I'm gonna just place a big amount here just to forecast if it's good or not, and blah blah blah. Okay, so the order value is 1893. So let's go and proceed to checkout, having much of more products. So let's try 4242. I think this time we should be able to having that. Okay, hit pay. And now, as you see, everything is working perfectly. Okay, done. And if you go back here, as you see, 1893 it just created. Only that was the problem. So whatever I'm just forecasting, it was nothing more. That was the problem. And now we have the order. So what we can do, we can now go grab the order to showcase in our order page. If you see here in the order, we can just click on that. From here we can download invoice anytime we want. If we click, it will automatically go and download the invoice. Even the later on we can download, because it's just passing from the Stripe, so it's very easy to integrate. So now what we did here is remarkable. We created our card, we created our product and others, everything. So it's time to go, and because as we are having that order according to that user, so now we can grab that products and then bypass that. So as you know, the problem which we are forecasting, it was a bit of messy, but at the end of, we are just good to have those everything done in a proper way. So now what we can go to create our order segment to just showcase our orders. Right now, if we go here and just check, we have nothing to forecast. So what we're gonna do, we have the order page, we will create the value to grab the properties. So to go there, and here it will be coming. I'm going to close everything, and from there it will go back to as app, client, orders, and that's the page. So first thing first, what we're going to do here, as it's coming with a synchronous way, so it is coming await required user. Without user, nobody can come here. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna pass that user ID. So user ID, it should be is equal to okay, we did that. Yeah, in required user, we did that functionality, so no need that. So right now we need to grab the orders, right? Should be const orders is equal to await. So what I'm gonna do, remember we create some hook here in the Sanity to fetch the product. So in the hooks, and I think in the leave, or I think within the Sanity, yeah, with the helper function, that's the queries. So here we will create another queries. So these queries will be responsible to provide all of my orders from here. So what I'm gonna do after end of this, we're gonna make that export const get my orders is equal to, should be taking a synchronous way, and here we're going to pass that user ID, which should be as a string properties, and with that user ID we're going to grab our orders. So if there is no user ID, what we want to throw a new error, and that error going to say user ID is required. And after that we also need to pass the other value. So const, it should be my, did we passing the queries itself here? Yeah, okay, so it should be my orders query, and that query is equal to be in the defined fields, so it should be defined query, defined query. And that in query with a backtick, we're gonna go and grab our query parameter. So here we're gonna grab the query, so underscore type is equal to should be order, and then we also going to pass that and that clerk user ID and others. So should be clerk user ID should be is equal to the user ID which we are passing, that user ID. And after that we also need to make the order ascending, so it should be passing that, let's say order, and here we're gonna pass the value of that should be, let's say order data. I think the order data could be, yeah, order data descending. Okay, okay, did we miss anything here? I think we grabbed the value properties. So what's wrong? Yeah, so like that. Yeah, I think that could be the one. Okay, and here we need to return what we want. So we have the defined query, underscore type is the order, and clerk user ID is the user ID we are providing. Then the order getting the order data as descending, and from there we want every product. So should be our products, that's the first instances, which is an array, and from there we want to grab our product, and that product, it will be like that. So what it's gonna do, it's gonna return my product value. As you see here, we can grab all the value or the number, date, customer, email, total, and invoice number. If you just make it bigger, we can see having that value. Okay, that's the one which we are preferring. If we have also discount, we can pass the discount value like that. So right now we have that my order properties, so we can make the try catch block. If we have the catch, we can just make that console.error, which will be saying that error fetching orders, and here we're gonna pass the error message, and also we're gonna return an empty array. And if we have that, const orders is equal to await, and that should be sanity fetch properties, and from there we're gonna fetch, we're gonna pass the query, which should be my orders query, and the params properties, we're gonna pass that our user ID, which the ID we are going to define. So that's how it will work. And from there we're gonna pass that returns, that should be orders dot data. If it's not available, it will be just passing an empty object. So right now if you see the orders, it's just an any value. So what we need to do, we need to run our good command, which should be npm run typegen. So it will just generate the extracting that and then generate our type for it. So what I'm gonna do here, order should be is equal to our get my orders property. So get my orders, and here we're gonna pass our user ID. Right now I don't have any user ID, so I need to create the user ID. Should be const, and from there user ID, it should be equal to await, and we're gonna just pass it from our clerk auth, and here we're gonna pass the value as it will be user ID. And we can simply log if we are passing any products or not. So it should be passing that log, and should be that orders. Why, what's wrong here? Argument type, okay, there is something, log is not defined. Okay, never mind. So right now what's happening is still in client side, right? In server side, right? So we are making that await auth, and that auth is coming from clerk Next.js server. Yeah, it's still in the server side. We can now predefine fetch the server side properties. Okay, it can be happening that if user okay, we can also find that. We can just check if we can pass a value if no user ID. We can also pass that. We're gonna just make that return, which should be redirect. Okay, not that one. Redirect should be within the home. Okay, if we doesn't have the user, I think we just need to make the fallback error properties, otherwise it will not give us the value. If we inspect right now, I think for this one, as you're having that, this check is not required right now, because we don't need to go and pass the handler value, because we are having that user ID in our own way. So in the console, as you see, we are having the two value but not grabbing anything. I think we are missing something here in my orders properties. Okay, there maybe we are missing some parameters, so we are passing that products, and from there we are grabbing that product value. We are passing. Okay, if we check here, the order is that my orders query. Okay, so queries. Okay, did we miss anything from there? I think okay, let me grab that, the existing one. Maybe we are missing some typo here. Okay, yeah, I think the typo we missed. Yes, so as you see, it could be like that. Define query star type is equal to order, and then Clark user ID, the user ID we are providing, then spared it the all products array, then from there we're getting the product. So that's the typo. For the typo we're not grabbing it. So I think right now we're having all our orders, so we can now predefinedly use that orders in our page and to showcase all our orders property.